Prabhuji, we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 1, Chapter 13, and we have three texts today, text 33, 34, and 35. Prabhuji, I hand over to you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. So, first canto, chapter 13, Dhritarashtra quits home. Text 33. We'll read all of them together, then we have discussion on it, yeah? Text 33. Amba cha hata putrartha pritavya kvagato shuhit abhi mai akrita pragye hata bandhu sa bharyaya asam samana shamalam gangayam dukhito vatat. Now this is Yudhishthira speaking. Where is my well-wisher, Uncle Vidura, and my mother Gandhari, who is very afflicted due to all her sons' demise? My uncle Dhritarashtra was also very mortified due to the death of all his sons and grandsons. Undoubtedly, I am very ungrateful. Did he, therefore, take my offenses very seriously and, along with his wife, drown himself in the Ganga? You can read the purport, Mataji.
Offered by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The Pandavas, especially Maharaj Yudhishthira and Arjuna, anticipated the after effects of the Battle of Kurukshetra, and therefore Arjuna declined to execute the fighting. The fight was executed by the will of the Lord, but the effects of the family aggrievement, as they had thought of it before, had come to be true. Maharaj Yudhishthira was always conscious of the great plight of his uncle Dhritarashtra and aunt Gandhari, and therefore he took all possible care of them in their old age and aggrieved condition. When therefore he could not find his uncle and aunt in the palace, naturally his doubts arose, and he conjectured that they had gone down to the water of the Ganges. He thought himself ungrateful because when the Pandavas were fatherless, Maharaj Dhritarashtra had given them all royal facilities to live, and in return he had killed all Dhritarashtra's sons in the battle of Kurukshetra. As a pious man, Maharaj Yudhishthira took into account all his unavoidable misdeeds, and he never thought of the misdeeds of his uncle and company. Dhritarashtra had suffered the effects of his own misdeeds by the will of the Lord, but Maharaj Yudhishthira was thinking only of his own unavoidable misdeeds. That is the nature of a good man and devotee of the Lord. A devotee never falls with others, but tries to find his own and thus rectify them as far as possible. Hare Krishna.
34. Pitari uparate pando sarvamna shruhida shishud arakshatam gyasha santana pritravoyo kvagato ita. When my father Pandu fell down and we were all small children, these two uncles gave us protection from all kinds of calamities. They were always our good well-wishers. Alas, where have they gone from here? There's no purport in this. We go to 35. Shri Sutta Vacha. Kripya sneha vaikalyavat sutta viraha karshita atmeshwaram akshakshano na prayahati pidita. Translation. Sutta Goswami said, because of compassion and mental agitation, Sanjay, not having seen his own master Dhritarashtra, was aggrieved and could not properly reply to Maharaj Yudhishthira. There's a purport on this, Mataji, you can read.
Offered by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Sanjaya was the personal assistant of Maharaj Dhritarashtra for a very long time, and thus he had the opportunity to study the life of Dhritarashtra. And when he saw at last that Dhritarashtra had left home without his knowledge. His sorrows had no bounds. He was fully compassionate towards Dhritarashtra because in the game of the battle of Kurukshetra, King Dhritarashtra had lost everything, men, money, and at last the king and the queen had to leave home in utter frustration. He studied the situation in his own way because he did not know that the inner vision of Dhritarashtra had been awakened by Vidura, and that therefore he had left home in enthusiastic cheerfulness for a better life after departure from the dark well of home. Unless one is convinced of a better life after renunciation of the present life, one cannot stick to the renounced order of life simply by artificial dress or staying out of the home. Hare Krishna. Over to you,
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So we are doing 3 verses today. 3 has purport, 33 and 35 is 30 purport. So we'll go to 33 first. Now, before we go into this points Sri Prabhupada has given us, we should know that what is the scene? Dhritarashtra, Vidur, and Gadari, they already left the palace on the previous night. We should know that Vidur had only come for one purpose, to create renunciation in the heart of Dhritarashtra, so that he can prepare for death, because he was too attached to the palace, to the comforts given by Maharaj Yudhishthira. So some very sarcastic words were used to prepare him to leave the palace. And if you recall, he didn't want to leave palace at night, he wanted to do it in the morning. And Vidura told him, no, this is the right time. When everyone is sleeping, leave and don't look behind. So we find Vidura taking Dhritarashtra, and Gandhari voluntarily joined them because she's a very chaste lady. So 3 of them left at night. Next morning, Yudhishthira comes to pay respects to his uncle Dhritarashtra and his aunt Gadari. He could not find them. And that is why this 33 verse number 33 was spoken, which I'll repeat it for you. Where is my well-wisher? Where is my well-wisher, Uncle Vidura, who is very much afflicted due to all her sons' demise. My son Dhritarashtra also very mortified due to the death of all his sons and grandsons. Undoubtedly, I am very ungrateful. Did he, therefore, take my offenses very seriously and, along with his wife, drown himself in the Ganges? So, this is the opinion or thinking of Maharaj Yudhishthira. You find this is a typical thinking of a pure devotee. Pure devotee may think that things have gone wrong because of him. So the purport Sri Prabhupada gives some points to come to this point. He says the Pandavas, especially Yudhishthira and Arjuna, they were aware of the consequences which are going to follow after the battle of Mahabharata. If you remember in the first chapter, Arjuna placed many arguments not to fight. Can anybody remember any arguments? There were 5 of them. Anybody recalls? Anybody would like to try? Which are from Niti Shastra. It's not that Arjuna is speaking out of emotion. Yeah. Anybody likes to try?
How can he fight against his guru and relatives, those who have supported him and taught him, and it would not be appropriate.
Okay. The 5 arguments from the Niti Shastra were that when irreligion becomes prominent in a family, the women become degraded first. They become polluted. That is the first. Second, when there is no culture, or a family loses the culture, when the women become polluted, then they can go haywire, and then the products will be unwanted children. Varna Shankar. That was the second argument. The third one is when the culture is gone from the family due to the elders and people dying, then even the offering to the Pitrus or the ancestors will stop. Then once this culture dies, there'll be no welfare work. In the original Vedic times, people would dig wells, people would build ashrams, and they'll provide free residence and free food to the people who are pilgrims. And many schools and other things were built by them. So all this will stop. So these are the arguments Arjuna brought. And he didn't want to fight. He had these solid arguments. And Maharaj Yudhishthira was conscious of the plight of what happened after the battle of Kurukshetra. The uncle and the aunt, Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, were in a shock. And he could very well understand their plight. And he took all possible care of their old age because they were quite elderly now. And because of loss of their sons, they had no one to look after them. Imagine 100 sons, not even one son was left. Each one was killed. And he was living with Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira Maharaj treated him like a king. And now, this morning when Yudhishthira could not find them, the first thought that came into him was, have they gone to the Ganga? Have they gone to the Ganges river and drowned themselves? Simultaneously, he also remembered how, when the Pandavas were small, Yudhishthira, Bhima, Arjuna, Nakul, and Sadev, Dhritarashtra had really taken good care of them in their younger days. And though Pandavas were not treated so well, they were mistreated, but Yudhishthira did not mind all that. He took all the responsibility on him that whatever has happened, he is the cause of this battle of Kurukshetra. So this is the nature of a devotee. A Vaishnava does not take pain, does not take blame, put blame on others, but puts the blame on himself. Prahlad Maharaj, says, Para dukha dukhi. A devotee is never happy when he sees others undergoing pain. He's not happy. So Vaishnava, a devotee, tries his best to rectify his faults, his mistakes, and come out of it. So in this purport, we can understand certain things. That Yudhishthira Maharaj is very, very compassionate. And he's up to 100% following dharma. Dharma means following all the religious principles, making sure that Dhritarashtra and Gandhari would not remember their sons who had passed. But at the same time, he tried to show so much love that don't worry, your children are not there, but we are there. It's a very nice way of showing sympathy towards them. And Dhritarashtra actually appreciated this. And that's why he felt himself at home. He never thought that he's living in the palace of Maharaj Yudhishthira. So he had no more grudge. Of course, in Mahabharata, there was grudge, but it was removed by the mercy of Krishna. We all recall that after the war of Kurukshetra, when Dhritarashtra wanted to meet all of them, all the Pandavas went to see Dhritarashtra. And each one was meeting one of each one. It was the time of Bhima. Krishna told Bhima, don't go close to him. He's going to kill you. Because Dhritarashtra had a lot of power in his hands. He could have crushed Bhima. So instead of sending Bhima, he told you send your statue. There was a metal statue of Bhima on which Duryodhana used to practice his mace daily, hitting it. And this statue was just very close. So he brought the statue, put it in front, and it was shocking to everyone that Dhritarashtra crushed that statue with his bare hands into pieces. In this way, after that, he even asked for forgiveness to his own brother Pandu. Oh, I've killed your son Bhima, please forgive me. It was done out of anger, out of envy. And then everything became quiet. And then Krishna speaks. He says, is your anger gone? He said, yes. He said, but I made a mistake. I've killed Bhima. And then Krishna reveals the truth. Bhima is still alive. What if Bhima comes in front of you now? He says, no, I'll give you all my blessings. In this way, Bhima was given all the blessings, and he was set, he let go all the envy, because all the hatred was towards Bhima. There was a reason why. Because Bhima had taken an oath during the time when Draupadi was to be abused, dishonored. He spoke openly that I'm going to kill myself, all the 100 sons of all your Kauravas, me, myself. That's why he personally killed each one of them, including Dusashan. In the end, Duryodhana could not be killed, but he was left. But more or less, he was killed by Bhima. All the brothers were killed. That's why highest hatred or envy was towards Bhima. But yet, Yudhishthira took the responsibility. He says, just to make me the king, these people have suffered. And due to me becoming king or sitting on the throne, they are still suffering. And that is why they must have left at night, not knowing what happened in the night. If you go to Ramayana, we find that in a night, the whole scene changed. When Ramchandra was to be made king, the next day, all the events changed, became negative, and Rama was sent to the forest, banished for 14 years. And the demand of Mother Kaikeyi was Bharat to be made the king, and he should rule, not Ramachandra. So in one night, the whole scene changed in Ramayana. In this, similar thing happens in this, that Vidura came, and at night he changed all the scene or all the understanding of Dhritarashtra for a better understanding. What we can learn from here is that first thing we should know why the Vidura had come here. I explained earlier. He came to deliver his brother, Dhritarashtra, though he's his elder brother. He was blind materially, and he was blind even spiritually. And he used very, very strong words, prepared him to leave. This is all of your life. You have acted wrongly out of illusion, envy, hatred towards the children of your own brother. And if you die, you are not going to go upwards. You'll go to hell, that is for sure. In this way, he made him very serious and prepared him to die in such a way that at least he will not go to hell. So he taught him, later on, as we read the verses, he will teach him Ashtanga Yoga. Because he cannot do Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga needs a very clean heart. And even with some demands, some grudge, he can do mechanically Ashtanga Yoga. In this way, he prepares himself. And we'll read later how he quits his body in a nice way, and he attains the higher planetary systems. According to the Vaishnava definition, anyone who has seen Krishna with the eyes or heard Krishna, seen Krishna, will go to Krishna. So these are the points here, that Yudhishthira is a typical Vaishnava. He's not putting any blame on Dhritarashtra. Actually, the person to be blamed is supposed to be Dhritarashtra, not himself. Because Dhritarashtra knew all the evil. his sons are performing, and he was a party to that. You know the 6 aggressions the Kauravas did towards the Pandavas. Anyone reads Bhagavad Gita, first chapter, they are mentioned. Anybody recalls what are the 6 aggressions done?
Hare Krishna
Anybody
Prabhuji.
likes to?
Is
Hare
it
Krishna.
that Duryodhan give Bhima poison, and
Yes.
second they try to burn them in the wax house,
Yes.
and then they took all their properties, and they
Yes.
tried to disrobe Draupadi in the assembly.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And which one? I forgot now.
He attacked with the deadly weapons.
Oh yes.
And they
Yes.
took their, yeah.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
And even Draupadi, they tried to kidnap her later on. Not just disrobe her, later on, Jayadratha went to kidnap her.
Jayadratha in the forest, yeah. He
So
kidnapped
all these
her.
aggressions, they're fit to be killed. And Maharaj Yudhishthira knew that they were wrong. Yet Maharaj Yudhishthira is taking all the blame on himself. He says, let go. So even in our what we get from this particular purport is that sometimes people do wrong to us and they have actually wronged us. We should let go. Because otherwise you'll have no time to meditate upon Krishna's holy name, Krishna's form. So we should let go. What has happened has happened. Keep your heart very clear. By keeping the heart clear, it's very good for you. You only speak if it is necessary. If you think it can happen, I mean, you can let go without, because sometimes even by telling the truth, people don't change. So you let go. That is the best possible. And that is called tolerance means titikshava. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse number 14, Krishna says, Matra spashista kantiya sitoshina shukadagada. Agampaino anityastan titikshashva bharata. The word titiksha is very important. Titiksha means to tolerate. And if you remember, even Kapila Muni says the first quality of a sadhu is to tolerate. Titikshava, karunika, and so on. These are the great, great qualities of any devotee. Devotee by nature is very tolerant, and he forgives everyone. Now, the points mentioned in the text for the 35. Now, Sanjay comes here. I think everybody knows who is Sanjay. Sanjay is the one who is narrating Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra. He is a disciple of Vyasdev. And by the agency of Sanjay, Dhritarashtra could not just hear, but he could see everything that is happening on the battlefield as Sanjay is narrating. And also Sanjay, the relationship with Dhritarashtra for a long time. He was his assistant, as good as a secretary. So Sri Prabhupada explaining that Sanjay knew his master very well because he has lived with him. He knew his policies, he knew his thinking, his way of life. In other words, he even knew his attitude. If you go to the last verse of Bhagavad Gita, he says, wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Arjuna, there is victory, there is moral, extraordinary power and fortune. So, in other words, on the side where is Krishna and Arjuna is the side which is going to win. He told Dhritarashtra in the best possible way. But Dhritarashtra did not listen. Now, when Sanjay was told that Dhritarashtra is gone and Gandhar is gone, he felt very, very bad because as it is, he was in a sorrow attitude. He's not very happy, he was very sorry. And now the sorrows had no bound. It increased. It gave him more pain. That at least before going, he would have told me, but he never told him. It means it hurt his mind more. It can happen even in our life. There's someone who is very dear to us. And if they leave without telling you, then what do we feel? We feel really bad. oh, they left and they didn't even tell me. And I was so close to him. This is the feeling Sanjay had. Now, here Sri Prabhupada says, because of the game of dice, Dhritarashtra lost everything. Now, who played this game of dice? We should know is Sakuni. Sakuni was very crooked. It is he who brought this game of dice, because that is the only way he could win the Pandavas. So he made this plan, and he knew how to throw dice. In a game, Duryodhana was playing on one side, Yudhishthira was playing. But when it came to throw dice on the side of Yudhishthira, it was Sakuni, which is not fair. But Yudhishthira agreed, not knowing that he knew the mantras, which numbers to come. In this way, they lost the game of dice, not once, even twice. When they lost once, in the end, Draupadi was brought in. They tried to disrobe her. At that time, by the mercy of Krishna, they were saved. And they were given their kingdom again, half the kingdom. Means Indraprastha was given back to them. And Yudhishthira said that it is not fair that you give the kingdom back. Let's play again. And this time if they lose, then they have to go 12 years and 1 year in incognito. They should not be recognized. And if they become recognized on the 13th year, they have to again repeat another 12 years and 1 more year. In this way, all this started with a game of dice. Now, if you go to Bhagavad Gita, there's a beautiful verse, I think it's around 34, 35, where he says that among among the cheating, I am the gambler. So though they try to cheat the Pandavas, they go cheat. The secretary was killed, except Dhritarashtra, because he was not on the battlefield. Nothing was left. So here Sri Prabhupada comments that they left, they had to leave everything. They lost everything. Their sons, their kingdom. And that is why king and queen also had to leave. The Vedic rule, so you have to leave your palace also. Yudhishthira is very kind that he allowed them to live with them. Now Sanjay did not know one thing, nor did Yudhishthira know this thing, that at night what had happened. At night, Vidura preached to them. Actually, this is called preaching. He preached in such a way that cheerfully he had actually left home, happily. Not with pain or hard heart. Happily he left home. Because he came to understand by the teaching of Vidura. That's why you find the teaching of Vidura is very similar to what Prabhupada is also teaching us. You are not this body. Prepare for that. If I'm not wrong, these are the comments you hear again and again in Prabhupada's lectures. And even in the books, that this life is not all in all. There is a next life. But prepare your next life in a better way by engaging in Krishna consciousness. And for bhakti or for devotional service, we need someone who can teach you renunciation. Now, for your information, bhakti, if you remember in the second chapter, was called Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means those who are intelligent will take up this process, not for everyone. And it's also called Bhakti Yoga. Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. And the third name is given by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He calls Bhakti to be Vairagya Vidya. Vairagya means detachment. That as soon as Bhakti begins, it will follow, renunciation and knowledge will follow automatically. If you're a serious practitioner of devotional service, you'll find that this thing, renunciation, you do not need to do it. it will happen automatically. How? First realization will come to know is that you are not this body. Everything done with the body is less important. More important is what you do with your soul. That is the first renunciation. Second, we understand that everything in this world is temporary, including our family, our relatives, our community, our country, including our own body, is all temporary. This is the second thing. And later on, as you advance in Krishna consciousness, you also renounce things which are practical. Practical means not favorable in devotional service. There are many things not favorable in devotional service, and you know all of them, which Rupa Goswami explains in the Nectar of Instruction. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpaniyamagraha jana sangha lolyamcha sadbir bhakti vinashati. In this verse, he clearly says, eating too much, collecting money too much, that is called atyaha. Prayashascha, trying to endeavor too much, which is never going to be yours. Atyahar prayashascha prajalpa niyamagraha. Prajalpa means using your tongue in a useless way, or wasting your energy talking nonsense. That is called prajalpa, which is called ninda in Hindi, also in Gujarati. Prajalpa, niyam, following rules and regulations, but not for progressing, just to make a show. There are people who make a show, they are following rules and regulations. But when it comes to take a decision, or when it comes to practicing serious devotional service, they can't do it. It means it's only for sake of following, but not for progress. So that's Niyamagraha. Then Janasangha, trying to keep company of worldly people, but not devotee company. Without devotee company, don't expect yourself to rest in devotion. So you remain the same place for years. Because the worldly minded people, either they talk of money or they talk of social life, parties, sense enjoyment, and so on. This is called worldly mindedness. So that is the fifth aspect. And the last one is lolya. Lolya means if you are practicing Krishna consciousness, don't be greedy. Give up your greed, because greed will destroy everything. Just like Ravan, he had everything, but the greed destroyed him everything. His character brought down, and due to greed, he went to kidnap Mother Sita, which led to the destruction of his entire clan. Finished. And similar greed is found in everyone. So one has to become a Brahmin. Brahmin means broad-hearted. And if you have narrow heart, thinking only of yourself or your close people, then you are a Kirpana. Kirpana means miser. So a miser person cannot practice Krishna consciousness. You have to let go things which are useless, and don't be too greedy. Remain broad-minded. And if you are generous, you can practice devotional service. Even when you have little or practically nothing, you'll still be happy to practice Krishna consciousness. So devotee, even in the difficult times or even in the happier times, he does not give up his service to Krishna consciousness. Now here Srila Prabhupada also makes one point in the end. He says, unless one is convinced of Vairagya properly, artificially wearing the dress of renunciate is just as sure. This is a warning to the devotees who try to show people that we have renounced everything. I've given my father away, my mother, I gave up my family, now I become a devotee. No, that's such a kind of dress, especially that of a sannyasi, is not good, because there is still attraction towards your family. Prabhupada gives in one lecture that there was a man who would quarrel with his wife at night, and he'll tell his wife, I don't want to live with you, and he would leave the home, go away. And the next morning he would be back. And the wife very well knew that he can't go away. He will be back. And every time he calls, he will go and live somewhere. In the morning, he's back. Again, sits down to take his meal. So such renunciation is called Falgu Vairagi. Falgu means bogus renunciation. It has no value. Even, what do you call it? When you talk of renunciation, Rupa Goswami explains two kinds of renunciation. There's a real renunciation and there's an incomplete renunciation. What are you supposed to renounce? Is things which are not favorable in your devotional service should be renounced. But if something is favorable in devotional service, do not renounce. For example, this mobile which I'm holding is dangerous these days, special to everyone. But also it has a good use. One is communication, and it can be used in a devotional service. So devotees also keep a mobile for these two purposes. Others, they keep mobile for adverse activities which are dangerous. So everything has its use if you want to use it in the service of Krishna. If you try to reject everything, then that renunciation is incomplete. And it's not going to help you in your devotional service. So what are we supposed to renounce? First of all, overeating, over collecting money, talking too much, being too greedy, try to be like a worldly minded man. In this way, this will ruin your devotional service. But what we should accept, if we are rejecting this, renouncing this, there are some things we are supposed to accept. One is enthusiasm, a lot of strong enthusiasm, utsaha, nishchaya, a lot of determination in your devotional service. Utsaha, nishchaya, dharya. There has to be patience in devotional service. Everything does not come in one day. English they say, Rome was not built in one night. It took time. And next it's utsaha, nishchaya, dharya, tat karma pravartana. Follow the 9 types of devotional practices: hearing, chanting, remembering, and so on. And then Sangatyaga, give up a wrong company. Give the company of people who don't believe in God, or those who are against Krishna. Stay away from them. Sangatyaga, Satovriti, do what the 6 Goswamis did, the previous acharyas did. Follow their footsteps. In this way, you will progress in devotional service. So I give you both unfavorable things and the favorable things. It's upon you. You'll find that as you progress in devotional service, even your own mind, or at least you can sense that this is unfavorable. You can even sense this. You'll feel very, very guilty in your mind. So what will you do? You'll avoid them, stay away from them, and try to engage yourself more in Krishna consciousness. And even if sometimes you are put into such situations, then what we should do? You take the shelter of the holy name. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. It is able to uplift you instantly from an unfavorable situation. Of course, if you are not a very strong devotee, then you should leave that place. But if it is bearable, and if you think you are in danger, this is the best thing to do, is to chant Hare Krishna. And when you chant Hare Krishna, you're going to remember Krishna. And this is the way forward in Krishna consciousness. Now, these things happen daily. None of us can claim that in my life, nobody has died. In my life, nobody has left me. In my life, I have not seen people losing property or dying or so many things. We all go through these circumstances. So when you are able to pick up what Prabhupada is trying to tell us, then it will help you in your devotional service. After all, what is devotional service mean? It's a transaction between us and Krishna. And that transaction has to become solid day by day by day, just like in business. Sometimes you may give credit, but you don't give credit to everyone unless you know that this is a good customer. trustworthy, he will bring my money. In the similar way, in Krishna consciousness, we keep our trust strong in Krishna, knowing very well Rakshishati Vishwasho is always going to protect me. And this will keep your faith very, very strong. So these are nice aspects in these three verses. How Yudhishthira Maharaj enters next morning and he sees his uncles, both uncles, Dhritarashtra and Vidura, and his aunt Gandhari not there. And later on they ask Sanjay, hey, do you know the whereabouts? And even Sanjay breaks down. He feels very, very sorrow. I mean, he's put in a very sorrowful condition, and he is also lamenting, why did my master abandon me? So time is up. Hare Krishna. If anybody's got any questions or additions, you can add.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for this session, and especially what renunciation means and what we should be doing. Are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
So thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice explanation. We got a broader view of how the Pandavas were feeling and how Dhritarashtra and Vidura left home, and it was very nice. How come Shakuni could control the dice?
He knew the mantras.
Yes.
The
so what happened?
Handling the dice, yeah.
Yeah. What happened is the Pandavas' ancestors, what is Pandav? I forgot now. What is their dynasty? Their forefathers, the Pandavas' forefathers, they imprisoned of Shakuni, and without food and water, he died. So in this way, Shakuni, he got their bones and he put in the river and he gave tarpan. He did the pitdan. So he got blessing from the ancestors that take our bones from our knees and you make dice, and also mantra was revealed. So Shakuni, he got the dice and he got the mantras, and that's how he got the mantras. And he went to destroy the Kauravas. He didn't like it. He showed that he loved them, but in fact he went to destroy them because of their ancestors. And he always thought put Duryodhana on the wrong path, never on the right path. So when the war was over, just before the war was over, Gandhari met with Shakuni, and Gandhari cursed Shakuni. He said, "You have put my sons on the wrong path. I curse you that your Janma Bhumi, where the land where you were born, will never be at peace." So we can see that still nowadays. Afghanistan is never at peace.
Yes.
So this is how Shakuni could manipulate the dices.
Yes.
That's how he came in disguise just to ruin the dynasty of the Kauravas.
True.
But those are hidden facts, you know. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Nice point.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for that addition. Just one person can destroy a whole dynasty. One bad apple will destroy the whole basket. So
the whole basket of apples.
Yeah. Any more addition?
Shakya Pandit says that one bad son can bring the whole reputation of the entire family down. One bad son. On the other hand, one good son is like the moon in the sky, like Prahlad, born in the family of Rakshas. But the whole family became glorious because of Prahlad. So you can have either of them. And the Bhagavatam says that it uses two words, Putra, Mutra. Putra means son, and Mutra means urine. So Ravan is compared to be like Mutra. And when you say Yudhishthira or Prahlad is compared to be Putra. Both come from the same place. So it depends what kind of son you have. And if you have a son, then make him either a devotee or a pandita. Pandita means learned in scriptures. Then that is a good son. And teach him very good things right from the young age. Before he reaches 16, teach him everything you can. And then after that, you can become friendly with him. This is how you treat the son.
Yes, Prabhuji, Putra, there's just the hell called Putra, and Trayati.
Yes.
The son should deliver, should be a very good son to deliver his father and forefathers. Yes. Also, it is said that a daughter, if a daughter is good, she will save two families. The both same families. Daughter, both families, right? Two families, both. But if that daughter is not goes astray, that daughter will ruin two families. It's her own and her in-laws. That is also said.
Just like Kunti. Kunti was such a nice lady that she would protect both the families, her own family, the Pandav family, and even the Christians. Yes. And she had love, equal love for both the families. That is a good wife and a good woman and a good lady. A good lady, that's why we have good names of great heroic ladies, very chaste ladies. And at least 5 names are very popular. One is Madhusita, Ravan's wife Mandodar is also there, Gandhar is also there. Then we have Anshuya and Draupadi. These are the 5 popular, great women in our Vedic culture. So the lady should follow them in order to learn everything, how to deal, how to think and everything. Just like today in our morning class, we started 9th canto. The chapter is called Marriage of Sukanya with Chavan. And when you read that section, Sukanya had to marry an old man known as Chavan Rishi, because she made one mistake. But she was so good in dealing. Old men, when they become very old, they become also temperamental. They become angry and stubborn. But she could handle everything so nicely that later on, by blessings, her husband became young, like a youth, and she enjoyed her life. So it all depends on how good a wife. That's why Sri Prabhupada says that family is very much dependent on good women. Because man is only earning money. Because the woman is the homemaker, and she's able to look after the family. She's able to raise good children. So a woman has to have a very good character. Very, very good character. Thank you, Mother. Okay.
Hare Krishna, I think there are no more questions or comments. Can I hand over to Path Prabhu? Path Prabhu, is it possible for you to end this session today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept our humble obeisances. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for your nice class talking about the Yudhishthira and Vidur Samvad and how Vidur instructed his elder brother, Dhritarashtra, to go out for the liberation. So, Prabhuji, one thing is that time in Dwapar Yuga, that is the liberation is the Paricharyayam, but we can know that one, they are set in meditation, then born themselves. So what type of liberation is that one?
That is through Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga, which is taught in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. If you read Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, Krishna is teaching Ashtanga Yoga to Arjuna, which hardly anybody can do now. It's not possible. Maybe someone can do. So his liberation was to think of at least the impersonalism. Vidura tells, if you study the verses very nicely, Vidura tells Dhritarashtra that you cannot do Bhakti Yoga. Because to have Bhakti Yoga, one has to have strong faith in Krishna. And one has to have a spiritual master under whose instructions you can practice bhakti yoga. And there's very short time to do all these things. At least you can practice Ashtanga yoga. So by practicing Ashtanga yoga, you go to perfection in 5 days, just 5 days. As we read further, we find on the 5th day, Dhritarashtra quits his body. So that's quitting the body, not actually liberation, to be very precise. He did get, he was able to die nicely. He lived in a very horrible way, cheated, showed envy towards followers, but he died a glorious death. He died like a sadhu. Even Chanakya Pandit says 3 things. If there's a thunder clap, thunder, a lightning in the morning, it's just noise. It's not going to rain. If there's thunder in the evening, it is going to rain. Then a quarrel between a wife and a husband, we should not take seriously, because they quarrel and again they get together. And then if a sadhu, if you hear he has died in a forest, then that is a good death. So if Dhritarashtra died in the forest, it's a good death. He died like a sadhu. Is the hand raised into
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji? Yes, Hare
Yeah.
Krishna. There are 2 kinds. There is Sayujya and Salokya. Sayujya meaning merging with the body of the Lord, like in the effulgence, the Brahman. And then there is Salokya. That means we reside in the same planet as the Lord.
Yeah.
That is, we get real liberation. That is it. And it's a reference, I think, in Bhagavatam, Canto 2.
Yeah, there are 5 kinds of liberation. You name 2 of them.
Yeah.
Salukya, Samipya, Ekatva, then Sarupya, and so on. So devotees don't seek for any one of them. Even like Ekatva, a devotee will never accept Ekatva, to merge into Brahmajyoti. That they will never think. They will never accept. Other 4, if Krishna gives them and tells the devotee to take it, they will take it. But otherwise, no. Sri Rupa Goswami says the devotee is not interested in moksha. The devotee is interested in bhakti. Okay, thank you, Mother. Those who have Bhagavatam can see this picture, how he quits his body, giving his body up.
Yes.
And the fire created from his own body by his mystic power. In Ashtanga Yoga, you do get a mystic power.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for an enlightenment class. I request all the devotees, please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna mantra for a glorification of His Grace Rukma Prabhuji. Please join. Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Vancha Kalpa
Kripa Sindhu Parivarta Patitanam Pavanebhyo Namo Namaha.
Srila
We
Prabhupada.
new devotee joining us every Wednesday. Her name is Preeti. If you see today, she's joined today first time. So probably you can welcome her.
Hare Krishna.
Preeti Gedia.
Thank you very
Hare
much,
Krishna.
Mataji, for joining.
Thank
Let us chant
you.
Haribol to welcome Preeti Mataji to this class. Thank you very much. Mataji, we have this class every day at the same time. So please join me if you can every day. So let us chant Haribol. Haribol.
Haribol, Haribol.
Mataji, where are you joining from? Are you from
Thank you very
Nairobi?
much.
Yes, I'm from Nairobi. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji, for joining.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.